Welcome to this dramatic therapy monologue. Listen to this meditation with an open mind and heart. In between each part, focus on your breath. Start now by inhaling deeply through your nose and slowly exhaling through your mouth. Then gently turn your attention to the natural rhythms of your breath. Let us begin. When I was 9, I used to sit in my room at the end of the corridor, making little diagrams of the world according to how important I thought I was to other people. Mum in the centre, of course, then my little sister, my father always off to the side. Me, always some slightly larger dot somewhere that never quite made it to the centre. Every time I finished one of those childish maps, I felt both important and horribly lonely. I always felt as if I was being watched from some secret place, so I became the watcher of myself. I suppose that is where it began, the disaster of thinking about myself too much. Growing up, my thoughts only grew louder. Every conversation, every party, every classroom, I was outside myself, scrutinizing myself, never just being myself. I knew deep down it made me miserable, but somehow I could not stop. I wanted to die to myself, but the mirror inside my head was so much more powerful than any other force in my life. I became a collector of slights, a hoarder of imagined failures. Sometimes I could not breathe for all the clutter in my own head. Now, in therapy, I try to untangle this mess. My therapist says, "You are obsessed with yourself." I nod, half proud and half ashamed, and think how absurd and yet true that sounds. How do I let go? How do I subdue this evil that drags like heavy chains behind every small thing I do? I want constant peace and tranquility, but there is always the low hum of, am I good enough? Am I liked? What did they think of me? Last week, my friend called me, crying. I was drinking alone, spiraling in a familiar cyclone of worries. I almost did not pick up. When I finally did, I forgot myself for an hour. I just listened. I heard her, comforted her, held her in that moment. When I hung up, the room was lighter. My worries, those relentless gnats, had vanished. There was such relief in that, such freedom. I almost thought I could float. But then, as soon as I realized how good I felt helping someone else, the old thought slid in. Did I comfort her well? Did I say the right thing? Did I make it about myself? This is where the crisis comes in, right? The terrible moment, the slow-motion car crash you cannot look away from. Sometimes, I think my childhood left a permanent imbalance inside me. My mother adored me, but she also expected perfection. Every success was met with silent applause, every mistake a subtle withdrawal. I learned to perform, to analyze, to fret, to never rest. The evil of self-obsession has roots in praise just as much as in censure. I can see that now. I am afraid I will never really overcome it. The misery that eats away at me is so persistent. I wonder if it is all I am capable of. Maybe obsessive misery is my closest companion. But today was a little different. I woke up already halfway into my usual spiral, the catalogue of grievances and embarrassments ready to play on repeat. But the neighbour's cat was on my steps, limping, pitiful. I scooped him up, I called the vet, I spent the morning fussing over his little paw. For 3 hours I did not think about myself. I was just present for another small creature in pain. I felt weightless. There was freedom there, a raw, simple joy. The world seemed to breathe with me, soft and forgiving. It suddenly hit me. Almost everything I need to overcome is just this disaster of thinking about myself too much. What a waste it has been. When I stopped focusing on myself, that is when I found that elusive peace. I think if I could die to myself fully, let go of the endless monologue, I could really live. Not just for a moment or an accidental day, but always. That may be the liberation I have always craved. I know now that one day focused on what I can do for others brings a freedom, a joy, a solution to all my imagined problems. Perhaps tomorrow I will falter again. Perhaps I will slide back into my own head and sit there, tapping on the glass, waiting for someone to notice me. But I have glimpsed another way. I can remember a day when peace and joy were not just possible, but real. The chains drop away, and the world opens up in a rush of light and colour. Perhaps in helping others, I will finally come home to myself, not as the centre of my own world, but as part of something larger and more beautiful. Breathe that in. Let it settle in your chest. That is where the transformation begins.